second technical session. I request Mr. Abrar Hassan to kindly read his paper. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I am obliged to the old students of the Government Commerce College for inviting me to speak on the proposed changes in the Customs Act. The Finance Bill 1985 proposes to make certain changes or amendments in the Customs Act, which are enumerated as follows. In Section 2, in place of Clause S, a new Clause S has been substituted, which gives the definition of smuggling as against the smuggle, which was previously defined in the same clause. The definition of the word smuggle, which now stands repealed, was as under, and I quote, smuggle means to bring into or take out of Pakistan in breach of any prohibition or restriction for the time being enforced, or evading payment of customs duty or taxes leviable thereon. A. Gold bullion, silver bullion, precious stones, currency manufactures of gold or silver or precious stones, or any other goods notified by the federal government in the official gazette, in each case exceeding 1,000 rupees in value, or B. Any goods by any route other than a route declared under Section 9 or 10 or from any place other than a customs station, and includes an attempt, abatement or connivance of so bringing in or taking out of such goods, and all cognate words and expressions shall be construed accordingly. Now this has been repealed, and the new definition of smuggling has been given, which reads as under. Smuggling means to bring into or take out of Pakistan in breach of any prohibition or restriction for the time being enforced, or evading payment of customs duties or taxes leviable thereon, any goods by any route other than a route declared under Section 9, or through any place other than a customs station, or any goods notified by the federal government in the official gazette, clearance of which at a customs station is sought or effected through concealment, fraud, or misdeclaration, and includes an attempt, abatement, or connivance of so bringing in or taking out of such goods, and all cognate words shall be construed accordingly. Now, the plain reading of the new definition shows that the word smuggling is now made very general in its application. Any goods which are prohibited or restricted or are brought into or taken out otherwise than through the declared customs port or airports, etc., or any notified goods, clearance of which at a customs station is sought or effected through concealment, fraud, or misdeclaration, will mean that those goods are involved in smuggling. The necessary implication of this enlarged definition is that all persons engaged in export and import trade would be deemed to be smugglers, unless proved otherwise. Smuggling is a worldwide phenomenon. Wherever there are restrictions, people have the tendency to evade protective duties in order to make profits. In Pakistan, however, there are several other factors which are responsible for aggravating the quantum of smuggling. Some of them are the baggage concessions. Number one, baggage concession for Pakistanis residing abroad are a constant source of bringing in large quantities of foreign goods to Pakistan. The items which are allowed free to these returning Pakistanis are otherwise restricted for imports. In average, about 40 TRs are entertained only by the duty-free shop of Karachi, which means that only in Karachi 1,000 air conditioners and 1,000 refrigerators are brought per month without payment of customs duty. This not only leads to double standards of pricing, but also makes social inequality more obvious. The result is that the society is divided into a group having money and foreign goods on one hand, and another group having no ability to provide themselves with modern sophisticated items of living. B. Dry port at Lahore, it is a well-known fact that Lahore dry port is a constant source of smuggling, and there is much leakage of customs duty from that port. C. Afghanistan imports through Pakistan. Afghanistan, being a landlocked country, depends on Pakistan for providing facilities for imports. The commodities which are imported by Afghanistan are generally not those which are bona fidely required by her. On the contrary, these goods are brought back to Pakistan and are sold in tribal areas where the customs laws are not operative. Now, the Bada markets are not confined to Landi, Kotal or Chaman only, but such markets are doing flourishing business in all big cities of Pakistan and are attached to each city in the same manner as a Kachi Abadi is situated along with the regular population. Now, when Afghanistan is almost at war with Pakistan and it is committing acts of aggression from across the border almost regularly, there is no reason for us to provide these facilities to Afghanistan. D. Assignment of customs duties to several other agencies is also creating mismanagement, waste and leakage of customs duty and is another source of smuggling. Several agencies, including Pakistan Coast Guard, FIA, Airport Security Force, and even police are busy doing the same duties and discharging the same functions as are assigned by law to the Pakistan Customs. This not only creates overlapping and waste, but also is the cause of smuggling, because as the proverb goes, too many cooks spoil the broth. It is therefore considerable that all functions and duties of customs should be entrusted to custom alone. Therefore, instead of enlarging the definition of smuggling, the need is to plug the gaps which are the source of smuggling. Next change is about the addition of, it is an addition of a proviso to section 83, which deals with the deferment in payment of import duty levied by the appropriate officer and replacement of the word interest by the word surcharge wherever occurring in section 98, 104, 105, 111. And that is not important for the purposes of present discussion. However, enhancement of punishment if the smuggled goods are heroin, cocaine, raw opium or coca leaf, to life imprisonment or to imprisonment which is not less than 2 years and to unlimited amount of fine are important. In view of the grave and gloomy consequences created by the ever-rising smuggling and consumption of narcotics, everyone would welcome the decision to enhance the punishment, provided no discrimination is made in the arrest of real culprits and their trial by regular civil courts established under the law. This has been made possible by amending the table of subsection 1 of section 156 of Customs Act. In the same table, a new item as item 47A has been added, which is according to which if an importer fails to clear any goods for home consumption or warehousing or transshipment within 1 month of the date of unloading, then he shall be liable to a penalty, which may be to the tune of the value of goods. By a new amendment in item 59 of the same table, it has been provided that if any goods after being duly warehoused are fraudulently concealed in or removed from the warehouse or abstracted from package or transferred from one package to another, then any person guilty of such removal, concealment, of abstraction or transferment be liable to penalty of imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or to a fine or to both. Likewise, by an amendment to item 62, the same sentence has been proposed. These are the amendments or changes as envisaged in the Customs Act proper by the Finance Bill. But the most important factor which has drastically affected the average Pakistani is the decision to levy a 5% surcharge under the classification IQRA surcharge. In his speech, the Finance Minister lamented about the poor state of literacy in the country and thereafter selected Customs to levy a 5% IQRA surcharge on the bulk of imports. He estimated that this surcharge will yield about 4.68 billion rupees and shall enable the federal government to provide 3.40 billion rupees next year to provincial governments by way of development grants for education. This leaves us to guess as to how the balance of 1.28 billion rupees will be spent by the federal government. The levy of this surcharge, which is, as a matter of fact, an indirect tax, can be objected to on various grounds. As is generally accepted, the function of customs duty should basically be only the regulation of the protection requirements in the economy. Those should be restricted to such imports by providing prohibitory rates of custom duty which are not desirable for the society or which are sufficiently produced or manufactured locally. In Pakistan, however, customs is being used for collection of revenues also. Therefore, other government agencies like excise, etc., which also collect the revenues, become useless as their functions are entrusted to the customs. This opens a floodgate of different pressures which are brought upon the Central Board of Revenue from time to time during the whole fiscal year. Delegated or subordinated legislation is made in the shape of SROs issued from time to time to cater the demands of various pressure groups and sometimes even of influential individuals. This situation inevitably leads to corruption and the resulting growth of black money, which in turn contributes to inflation. Unfortunately, the Finance Minister has officially recognized the inevitability of future inflation by providing indexation in salaries in place of the old and respected slogan, unity, discipline and faith. The Finance Minister seems to have given a new slogan, corruption, inflation and raise, of course in the salaries. According to the analyst in Daily Dawn of 26 May 85, and I quote, according to the Finance Minister, what he presented to the National Assembly on May 23 was not a traditional budget and so avoided the usual play on statistics. This is perfectly true. The entire budget speech was turned into the secret part 2. Any quantitative assessment of the budget has, however, been made extremely difficult by the absence of the traditional statistical tabulation of revenue effects of budgetary proposals, and the budget speech has taken the form more of economic poetry than economic prose, unquote. The full impact of the budget will be felt only after 3 to 5 months. However, the nation is already feeling the pinch. Cement is already selling at the rate of 80 to 90 rupees per bag. Mild steel products have almost disappeared from the market, and the spare motor parts dealers have petitioned to the government to nationalize their trade. These are the only harbingers of what is in store for us in the future. Due to increase in railway fare and oil and gas prices, the prices are to rise by up to 50% of the present level. Therefore, there is need to review the budget. There are, of course, several good proposals in the budget also. For example, exemption from duty of the import of electronic and electrical items, etc., which are to be praised. Thank you.